Good morning, Your Honor. This is case number IT 9833/1I. The prosecutor against Blagojević.
May I have the appearance, please, for the prosecution?
Yes, good morning, Your Honor.
Microphone, please. Microphone, please.
By Mr. Mark Blagojević, co-counsel. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. For the accused?
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Tjarda Eduard van der Spoel. I'm a Dutch attorney and provisional defense counsel for Mr. Blagojević.
Thank you. Mr. Blagojević? Can you hear the proceedings in a language that you could understand?
Yes, I'm able to follow in my language, yes.
Your full name, please?
I'm Vida Blagojević.
It's upon which you believe you were born.
I was born on the 22nd of June, 1950.
Thank you. Please sit down, please.
Thank you.
We are here this morning for the initial appearances of the accused, in accordance with Rule 62 of the Rules of Procedure and Evidence, upon his transfer to the tribunal. I'm here acting in my capacity as duty judge, pursuant to Rule 28. I should inform you that this case has been assigned by order of the President of 13th August 2001 to Trial Chamber 3. Mr. van der Spoel.
Yes, Your Honor.
Has your client received a copy of indictment in a language which he understands?
Yes, he has, Your Honor.
Have you had a chance to go through with him yet?
I have discussed very briefly the indictment with my client, and he understands it quite well.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Does he understand the contents of the indictment, or is he aware of the nature of the allegations made against him?
My conference with him was too brief to discuss everything in detail, as he sees me as his provisional defense counsel at the moment. He was aware of his rights, and that was for him sufficient.
If you have discussed the contents of indictment with your client, may I know whether he wishes the indictment to be read out in full, which is his right, or he wishes to waive this right?
He does not wish to have it read. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very grateful to hear that. Does your client know that he must plead to the charge in the indictment within 30 days of the initial appearance, and if he so wishes, he can also do so today? Is he ready to enter a plea today?
He is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Blagojević, would you please stand up? Mr. Blagojević, are you ready to enter pleas to the charges against you in the indictment?
I'm ready.
I propose to read out to you just the charge, and then I'll ask you, how do you plead to the charge? Guilty or not guilty? Your answer in each case should be guilty or not guilty, as the case may be. The first count against you is a charge of genocide. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Your Honor, I am familiar with the indictment. I have read it and understood it. And on the basis of the same, I plead not guilty on this count too.
Count is a charge of complicity to commit genocide. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
The third count is a charge of extermination, being a crime against humanity. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
The fourth count is a charge of murder as a crime against humanity. Do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
The fifth count is another charge of murder as a violation of law or customs of war. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
The sixth count is a charge of persecution on political, racial, and religious ground, being a crime against humanity. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
The seventh count is a charge of deportation, being a crime against humanity. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
The eighth count is a charge of inhuman act, forcible transfer, as a crime against humanity. Do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Please sit down, sir.
Thank you.
The registrar will be instructed to fix a date for trial when appropriate. An accused is remanded in custody until further order. I would like to remind the prosecutor of your obligation under Rule 66AI of the Rules of Procedure and Evidence with regard to the disclosure of the supporting materials within 30 days of today. I would also remind the counsel for the accused whether you will continue to serve as his counsel after today or not, that preliminary motions pursuant to Rule 72 may be filed on behalf of the accused no later than 30 days after disclosure by the prosecutors pursuant to the Rule 62AI. Is there any matter which the prosecution wishes to raise at this moment, Madame Del Ponte?
Yes, Your Honor, just to inform that we are ready for the disclosure of the material, but we wait if the defense counsel is the definitive defense counsel. But if you wish, we can hand over now the supporting material. And second information is that we will present a joint motion to have just one trial for the accused Blagojević, Obranović, and Jokic, all three together. It will be a written motion. Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, I'm just a duty judge performing my duty in the absence of other judges at this moment. But your argument really has a very strong point. I will certainly bring your point to the attention to the president of this tribunal when he comes back. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Van der Spoel, do you want to raise any matters at this stage?
Not at the moment, thank you, Your Honor.
Now, one thing I would like to remind you is that before you leave this case, you'd better talk to your client and ask him to hire an attorney for him. So far as I know that the procedures of this tribunal is very complicated. To hire a lawyer to his benefit will be greatly assisting him to know what is going on before this tribunal.
I agree with you, Your Honor, but my client has instructed me only to act as his defense counsel at this hearing. He will think about his definite choice. At the moment, I can't do anything more.
Okay, thank you. I'll take note of that. So that's all. We are adjourned.
All rise. évoluer.